After begging people to donate money to them, the multi-hundred million dollar PC storefront GOG has decided to abandon human artists and replace them with AI. This is one of the biggest cases of corporate greed I have ever seen in my entire life. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with GOG, they are a digital PC storefront for PC games, and they sell games DRM-free. That's their whole thing. And a few months ago, they started begging people for donations. They were like, hey, join our Patreon and give us money to help us out, even though this is a company that brags that they bring in over $100 million a year in profits. So anyways, after having over 5,000 Patreons, apparently, they brag about that on their website, they decided to give the finger to human artists, and the banner on their store right now for their current sale is AI generated. And they proudly admit to this being AI generated slop art, after begging people to donate money to them to help the company. What the crap? I'm a bit at a loss of words here. You know, this rich, stinking, filthy rich company can't even bother to spend a couple $100 to hire an actual artist to do this art. That is so cheap. That is so greasy. I'm boycotting GOG. I am ashamed to admit that I've ever bought anything from them. I have no plans on making any future purchases from GOG in the future after they pulled this stunt. This is just... what the crap? This is the approximate equivalency of if Bill Gates dressed up as a poor homeless man, sat on the side of the road begging for money for food, and you give him $5 and he says, thanks, I'm gonna go get some food, and then he buys a pack of cigarettes. That is the approximate equivalency here. What GOG is doing, and this is just so greedy, so greasy. This is just disgusting greed, and this is one of the reasons that I prefer Zoom Platform, a much smaller platform with less income than GOG, and they hire actual artists to do their art. So like when a much smaller DRM-free PC storefront is hiring actual humans to make art, being Zoom Platform, surely the bigger company GOG would also hire humans, but they're like, nah, we don't need to hire humans. We're just going to have AI shout out art. And this just sucks. You know, I don't know what the going normal rate for a single piece of art is, but a couple years back I did ask a painter how much she charged per piece, and she said something like $300. So you're telling me that GOG, with their 5,000 plus Patreons and their $100 million plus a year, can't shell out $300 to help out an actual artist? And the least that GOG could do here would be to intern this art out. The least they could do would be like, hey, we're looking for artists who just want to get their art in front of people. We won't pay you anything, but we'll put your art on our storefront and we'll give you credit. That is the least that GOG could do, and I guarantee you there would be some takers. But no, this $100+ million company is just replacing humans with robots, and we should not let GOG get away with this, because give an inch and they'll take a mile. You know, and it's not even like, I don't know, let's just say if Steam started using AI generated art, that'd be a different thing, because at least Steam isn't begging people for donations. GOG is begging people to just give them money, and then they can't even be bothered to use that money to hire an actual human to make their art. This is just filth, greed. I don't even know what to say here. And again, I think I'm done with GOG. Like, I would have to see some serious changes before I would consider making future purchases from them. because that is just, I am not going to support greed on that kind of a level. A multi-million-dollar company begging for money and then not even hiring an actual human artist. That is so disgusting. And again, going back to look at Zoom Platform, they also sell PC games digitally, DRM-free, and they hire actual artists to do their work. It's like, how if the smaller company can afford to do it, the bigger one can, but GOG is just like, nah. And GOG has connections to CD Projekt Red. They have access to some of the most well-known, high-profile, most talented artists in the world. And they just decide to use AI instead. AI is taking jobs. I mean, this is an example of it. Some people will say, oh, AI is not taking any jobs. Well, it took an artist's job here. You know, somewhere out there, there's some artist who's struggling to feed their children who could really have used an opportunity to make a piece here for GOG so they could have a few extra bucks in their pockets to keep their lights on. In this filthy rich company that's drowning in cash just says, nah, we'll just have AI do it. Boycott GOG. You know, what do you want me to say? People should be shining a light on this, and apparently they have lost a lot of Patreons after this stunt, and I've seen quite a few people talking about this, so I'm glad that GOG is getting negative feedback here, and they should be getting negative feedback. Like, they're begging people to just hand over money to them, and then they can't even bother to use that money to employ actual humans. Sorry for that voice crack, but not cool, GOG. Like, and I am glad that at least GOG is showing their true colors here and letting us know who they really are and that we shouldn't be supporting them. You know, I will say thanks to them for that, thanks GOG for showing us who you really are and what you're going to do with donation money. But this is just, what the crap? Anyways, this was a video I wanted to make. You know, I do feel very strongly about this. And I would like to know your thoughts down in the comments. If you couldn't tell, this video was not scripted. But man, I mean, this is just corporate greed. Anyways, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. And like always, none of my videos are ever made by AI, and I do not consent to my voice and likeness to be modified, altered, and copied by AI in any way, shape, or form. Jesus loves you all, and boycott GOG and go to Zoom Platform. Peace.